Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.
And don't forget, you can get the news as a podcast if you're out and about by searching for WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. But Andy Murray, what have we got coming up today?
A whole bunch of new stuff regarding Saudi Arabia.
And 3 matches have been confirmed for Survivor Series. This is the news.
So coming out of the Saudi Arabian travel catastrophe, let's just keep calling it that, you might have had some thoughts about WWE's backstage morale, particularly with people tweeting things out. All kinds of reports from the likes of Dave Meltzer suggesting that people were so upset they didn't want to go back, or they were willing to, they couldn't wait to leave the company and all this stuff. You might be thinking heading into last night's Raw that things might not be so rosy. So, what did Vince McMahon do? He held a big backstage meeting to try and alleviate any concerns, to try and fire people up, get everyone back on the same page after what happened. Again, this is according to Dave, who reported it earlier today. Claims that Vince held this meeting. He reiterated during this meeting that the travel delay was due to mechanical issues. And then he had Seth Rollins do a little bit of a rah-rah speech, apparently.
You can tell Dave wrote this, can't you? That's what people do nowadays, don't they? They have rah-rah speeches.
Rah-rah. You can only imagine the kind of crap that came out of Seth Rollins' mouth. But basically, it was, as usual, just trying to fire people up, get everyone back on the same page. And one of the key points, and this is actually quite hilarious, is that part of this speech apparently had Seth going on about keeping business off of social media, which is quite hilarious given his recent form. But you know, we could sit here and concoct like our own little fantasy script for how this meeting and stuff went, but I think our colleague Michael Sidgwick covered it really well on Twitter this morning when he tweeted, "Guys, gonna need you to burn down those little grievances you got there. We need to survive and prevail through all of this. Let's rebuild the relationship with the GSA. Who's with me?" That's probably exactly how it went.
Yeah.
Don't know how Michael Sidgwick got into the locker room, but he did, and that's exclusive.
And Seth Rollins is apparently furious with Dave Meltzer. So I'm going to read out a tweet that I found from him this morning, tweeted just a couple of hours ago. He was tweeting about facing Adam Cole on last night's Raw, which was great, to be perfectly honest. He tweeted, "Lastly, Dave Meltzer, you're at best a purveyor of misinformation, or at worst an outright vindictive liar. I hope it's the former. Hashtag rah rah."
Yeah, so purveying misinformation, like putting the brutal Saudi Arabian regime over as progressive and inspiring and pushing people. What are you doing, Seth Rollins?
Delete your account.
Delete your account. Delete yourself off the internet. Now, look, shtick aside, I think like this deserves a little bit of a breakdown here. I think when stories like this emerge, when there is no concrete proof either way, regarding what happened. Although there technically is a little bit of proof regarding the mechanical issues thing, and that being nonsense, in that the FAA, I believe that stands for Federal Aviation Authority, have no record of any mechanical fault, and legally that would have to happen if there was a mechanical fault. So that's probably nonsense. But in situations like this, where there's a lot of speculation, and it is speculation, you have to look at these things critically. You have to be a bit skeptical of both sides. You shouldn't take Dave Meltzer's word as gospel, but what you also shouldn't do is be naive enough to take someone like AJ Styles, who was on about mechanical issues, or Seth Rollins. You shouldn't be daft enough to take them at face value either, because they're talking heads for the company. You need to apply a little bit of critical thinking. There's a lot of smoke to this fire surrounding what actually happened.
We want the smoke. We want the smoke.
And all that, but that's how you analyze these things. Don't take either side at face value. Break them down. Look at what's going on. Look at what's really going on. Try and lift up the hood and figure it out. And in this situation, I think there's a lot of smoke.
Yeah, it's tough to know who to believe. Company men and known aircraft engineers Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, or, you know, the FAA and common sense coming from a company, right, who literally books storylines. I distinctly remember in my head when I think it was Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero were feuding when Eddie didn't show up and Mysterio, I think, got the crap kicked out of him by Basham Brothers. What did he say? "I promise you, I was having car trouble."
Yeah.
So maybe they just went, bollocks, we need an excuse. What have we said in the past? Oh, there we go. The wings didn't work.
And it's not like
what a load of bollocks.
And it's not like WWE to lie to you, is it? It's not like wrestlers to always be wrestlers and constantly be working.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, come on, guys. Some good news has come out of this. WWE and Saudi Arabia have reaffirmed their partnership. Hooray! In an official statement claiming their agreement has been expanded to include a second annual event. I thought they already had 2 annual events.
They do.
I mean, they said large scale. Whether they mean like even bigger, I don't know. It's already something that happens. It's probably something PR related, just to be like, we're good, right?
Yeah, everyone's good.
They say WWE and GEA also continue to work towards the completion of a media agreement in the MENA region. This long-term partnership demonstrates WWE and GEA's commitment to bring sports entertainment to the region and support Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. PR bollocks, no developments, basically.
Yeah, there's a lot of PR stuff there. I also think there's a lot of stock-related stuff in there because after the earnings call, the investors' call on the 31st of October, George Barrios said during that call that he couldn't guarantee the status of future shows in Saudi Arabia, or 2 shows a year in Saudi Arabia, I should say. This led to a decline in stock prices, so they've probably issued this statement partly as a way to kind of drive them back up at the same time. But there's a point I'd like to make here surrounding the specific reference to Vision 2030 here, right? When people talk about Saudi Arabia and we analyze it, we get a lot of people saying, you know, don't bring politics into this, it's not political, it's just a nice wrestling show for the Saudi Arabian fans. Nonsense, complete nonsense. You need to go and research what Vision 2030 is. This is a scheme designed to rehabilitate the image of a brutal regime that is not progressive in any way whatsoever. Go and Google like just anything related to the country and you will find some kind of mad accusation against said regime and against what's really going on in the company. This show, this contract is all about that program, Vision 2030. It's about running propaganda. It's about rehabilitating the image of that regime. It's not about going and giving these poor sports entertainment deprived fans a show, which is part of it. I mean, if I'm a Saudi Arabian citizen, I'd be delighted the wrestling's coming there. And I'd be delighted to get to see the likes of Brock Lesnar and all these other guys that I watch on TV. But that's not what this is. It's naive to say it is. Just Google Saudi Vision 2030. You'll figure it out.
Exactly.
It's also, go and check out the wonderful video our esteemed colleague Adam Cleary did on this last year. Really great stuff, the disturbing truth behind WWE in Saudi Arabia. It's got some must-watch information there and it really shed some light on the whole situation. But don't moan about people making this political. WWE made it political when they agreed to be part of a propaganda program.
Right, is that everything WWE Saudi Arabia related covered?
No! Of course not. We have another update from Hugo Savinovich, former WWE Spanish announcer.
Legend.
Yeah, legend. Works for AAA now. Broke a lot of the details surrounding the stories that came out last week, specifically relating to the reason the flight was delayed and the reason they were held back for all those hours and stuff. He has spoken again via Wrestling Inc., who have like a full translation of the thing here, and they say that he has claimed that there are more details still to come out on the situation, which makes sense really. He's got a specific paragraph here. He says it's a very complicated situation, but the talent was, and this is his words, you know, I don't want to use the word kidnapped, but he ordered a kidnapping and the guys were stopped from leaving the country. Now, very strong terminology there. Again, pinch of salt. Don't take it as gospel. Never take it as gospel. Until the facts actually emerge. And he claims to have spoken to sources in Saudi Arabia that he has from his career, as well as WWE company officials who had actually phoned him because unfortunately his wife actually passed away the day before all this came out. So again, you know, because he's going through that tumultuous personal time, it leads me to believe that Hugo, like, you know, grieving Hugo, who probably has much more important things to worry about, didn't just go, I'm going to make some rubbish up about WWE in Saudi Arabia. So, more details to come maybe. Man, it just feels like we're still trying to pull out the roots of this story. It feels like we've only seen what's above the surface, and I don't see it going away anytime soon.
Nobody was kidnapped here. All they were was held without a definitive moment when they were going to be released. That's not kidnapping, guys. That is not kidnapping. The only saving grace out of all of this is the polar opposite to how I used to feel on Boxing Day. On Boxing Day, I used to think, oh, it's the longest time now until Christmas again. Well, right now is the longest time till the next Saudi Arabia event. So, I mean, I'm desperately, Andy, I'm desperately trying to find something good to come out of all this.
Shall we just talk about Survivor Series?
Yeah, Survivor Series is coming up. Let's ignore all that. 3 matches were announced last night on Monday Night Raw, and they are, quite simply, mouth-watering.
Yeah.
Of course, this is the first Survivor Series which features Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, and 2 of those matches relate to that. We have the Revival, of course, who are SmackDown Tag Team Champions, versus the Viking Raiders, Raw Tag Team Champions, versus the Undisputed Era, who are NXT Tag Team Champions.
Can you do their gang sign? I don't even remember what it is.
I always do it the wrong way round. It's you do the U and the E, but I always do it the wrong way round.
They're little dorks, aren't they? But that's part of the fun.
Yeah, I love it. I'll be honest. I do it with them. So
that's the thing about the Undisputed Era. They're not cool guys. They're cool guys. They're dorks who think they're cool guys, and that's why they're so much good.
Although Kyle O'Reilly playing the belt is always cool. That is going to be amazing. A triple threat tag team match between the tag team champions, and arguably the match of the night in my eyes. Triple B, baby. Baszler versus Bayley versus Becky. Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, NXT Women's Champion. Someone is going to have the life snatched right out of them.
Great.
On, I think it's November 23rd. That's a complete guess. Somewhere around then, couple of Sundays away. I cannot wait for this match.
That's going to be tremendous, and they should have Baszler win.
I genuinely can't call it, or I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah.
I sense that they may do something where Bayley and Becky are so desperate to get their hands on Baszler. God, this is going to get confusing. She just ends up murdering both of them. And speaking of murder, Brock Lesnar is going to be facing Rey Mysterio for his WWE Championship. He, of course, transferred to Monday Night Raw. Murdered a very respectful Dio Madden last night on the show, who tried to stand up for botherer Jerry Lawler.
Botherer Jerry.
And this was all amongst Brock looking for Rey, and he found him eventually on the stage because Rey came out, jumped in with a bat, and just battered his legs, basically.
Beat the piss out of him.
WWE Championship, I assume, will be on the line for that one, and that is another match that I think is going to be brilliant because, as we've mentioned on numerous occasions, Brock works so much better with smaller dudes.
How good has the build for that match been?
Amazing.
Awesome.
Just sacrifice Cain Velasquez, but still.
Yeah. I mean, I've been totally into it. Like, now that Kane's kind of out of the way, really looking forward to some more big, scary Brock chasing this little toothpick fella around. I love both these guys. It's going to be great.
And we've got a good Twitter question which relates to that in a second. Speaking of which, so we've mentioned 3 matches confirmed for Survivor Series. I am going to be writing an article about 10 matches we would love to see at this year's Survivor Series. And I'll be honest, I'm lazy. So let me know your suggestions in the comment section below, and I'll probably just steal half of them and just copy paste your comment, stick it as a list entry, and then make it as a video later on this week.
Remove the username because
I'll give you a mention. I might even give you a mention if it's a good booking decision. But yeah, let us know other matches you'd love to see at Survivor Series because it's shaping up to be a fantastic show.
Looks great.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course. First question today comes from regular contributor Adarsh Singh, who says, who do you think is going to take the pin at Survivor Series men's and women's title matches? Now, he says, my pick is Adam Cole and Bayley. Now, I assume Adarsh is thinking that there's going to be some sort of Brock versus Bray versus Adam Cole match,
what a
which
weird
probably
match
isn't.
that is.
The match I would book is probably what we had last night, Adam Cole versus Seth Rollins. So let's change that instead and do the 2 title matches that we know are confirmed, as in the 2
Inter-brand ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Who wins and who loses? Who takes the pin in?
I think that in the women's match they will take the boring option and go with Becky defeating Bayley, even though I would love to see Baszler tapping Becky out and building to a singles match. I think that'll be loads of fun. In the tag match, I think the Viking Raiders go over the Undisputed Era, kind of Triple H's boys. So Viking Raiders go over the Undisputed Era purely because NXT do have to take a loss or two.
You can't keep making the Revival lose and try and make them a legitimate contender. I'd hope we just have Shayna choking the life out of Becky Lynch. So no submission, just passes out.
Referee
basically.
stoppage.
Yeah.
I'm with you, brother.
And yeah, Viking Raiders Undisputed Era I think is fine, as much as I want. But I do want to see lots of offense for the Undisputed Era. Right, speaking of the WWE Championship match, Josh Rodriguez says, who takes the belt off Lesnar on Raw and when? Mysterio? Surely not Seth. Claymore kick it off of him for Josh Rodriguez, he says.
I like that. The belt just goes flying in the crowd. I don't think it'll be Ray. I think the predictable story here is the best story, and that's Ray shows loads of spirit in a defeat to Brock. As for what, I think the decision to take the title off Brock is a long way away and will require long-term booking, which isn't something they're particularly good at. At the moment, no one really stands out, do they?
No.
I mean, they do seem to be more interested in elevating Drew. So maybe a few months down the line, if they keep doing that, I could probably see that. But What about big Bobo Lashley? Might
Well, I was going to
cut the belt off Brock.
I was going to suggest Rusev.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see it happening at all, but I mean, we can dream.
Yeah.
We can dream.
Let's dream.
Let us know your thoughts in the comment section.
He's got to grow the stash back, though. This
Yeah.
beard's rubbish.
Right. Alan Boilo, I assume he's French. I'm pronouncing it with a bit of an accent. Alan Boilo. I hope I've got that right, Alan. I apologise if I haven't. It says, should the war with NXT last longer than Survivor Series? And just like the invasion storylines in 2001, NXT versus WWE, you could have superstars jumping ship to the other side in the war. Intriguing that, because one thing that's annoyed the likes of the Dudley Boys is the fact that all of a sudden, because it's Survivor Series time, everyone's like, oh, brand warfare.
Yeah, well,
so this arguably could spill over later on, perhaps.
Yeah,
It certainly made Raw and SmackDown for more interesting for me.
Yeah, it's certainly something I could see them doing, because like the shows just need a little bit of juice every now and then, don't they? And like if NXT wants to start like overtaking AEW regularly in the ratings war, and I do think they will beat AEW this week, but if they want to do it regularly, it's a step they might have to make, is bring people down and put people up, and hey, you can see this guy on Wednesday nights, come and watch Adam Cole and he's great and all this stuff. It's something I can see them doing. I worry about it, because the thing with this brand warfare storyline is that it's kind of caused a real clash with the NXT storylines. You have things like Adam Cole sharing a ring with Matt Riddle, who hates him, but now because they're on the same show and they're on SmackDown, they're friends and they're in invading
We
force.
bleed yellow and black.
Yeah, it's a narrative black hole there. So I could definitely see it keeping going, even if it's not an official war.
Yeah, I think you'd take it, simmer it down a little bit. Simmer it down! And then I'd bring it back up to the boil for around Royal Rumble time. So maybe they have a big battle royal with Raw and SmackDown guys, and one person at the end is standing tall, and then, surprise, bitches! In come all the NXT guys, chuck them over the top rope, because it's Big Show, because how are you going to get him over the top rope? And then, see what happens.
Big Show.
Right, let's move on to today's. And finally, today is, of course, Tuesday, which means, it's no longer SmackDown Day, it is AEW Dark Day, and the man who does ups and downs for WhatCulture.com, who should be sat to my left, Andy Murray. Oh,
hi,
there he is. Andy Murray, are you looking forward to AEW Dark tonight?
Yeah.
Well, you should be, because All Elite Wrestling have tweeted out something which popped my tits off this morning, because on tonight's episode of AEW Dark, AEW Dark, there is going to be a new superstar debuting, who you may have seen before. You may have seen him before as Marco Stunt, but you know him now as Babysaurus.
Oh yes, get it. Look at that man. Isn't he wonderful?
God, I can't wait for Luchasaurus to debut on TV.
I can't wait for the hot takes on Marco Stunt on Twitter tomorrow morning.
Hello, Jim Cornette. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's stories in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dudley Boys will be reviewing Raw a little bit later on today. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. And watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Bone.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. And if you're on Twitter and your name's Seth Rollins, delete your account. Right, this has been the news. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
Stone, not bone.